back on Pitside, and we've got a very, very special guest here on Pitside with us. What a fantastic win by Pakistan. 3-0 clean sweep is what we are talking about. Lots to talk about in terms of this team going forward, the goals and objectives. So to talk all about that, I've got with me Mike Hesson, the coach of the Pakistan team, who must be a very, very happy coach indeed. Congratulations to you, first of all. A 3-0 win against Bangladesh. The significance of that, let's talk about that. The series win for you, your first campaign as a coach. What does it mean to you?
Look, it's very pleasing. I think, the work we did prior to the series, albeit just a few days, was really important just in terms of setting the tone around how we wanted to operate as a team, what was important, what types of players we wanted, and probably that selfless attitude, for the team. So it was really nice that we were able to click into that for the majority of the time during the series.
The fact that you've worked in the PSL with Islamabad United, and how has that sort of helped you get a better understanding of the players?
Oh, I think it's been critical. I've obviously worked with a few of the players, but I've also coached against many. And you get to know them, around the hotel and get to talk to, players that engage with them and how they think about the game. A big part of my role is sort of understanding how they operate and try and maximise their talent, really. And you can't do that unless you get to know them. So it's been a really important couple of years just to get to know the wider group of players in Pakistan.
So my question is whether you are from Brendan McCullum School of Thought or whether you are Mike Hesson and you want to have your own kind of flavour.
Oh, very much my own flavour. I mean, I obviously coach Brendan a lot. We think about the game differently. We have different strengths. We're probably quite a good combination, or we were, because we look at things from quite a different angle. I'm quite a boring coach, really. I'm quite methodical in terms of how I work. I don't get too high, don't get too low, and as I said, just try and work with the players to maximise what they have. Yeah.
So it appeared as if strike rate was important in this series. I saw a lot of freedom because they were out there expressing themselves. The bowlers looked pretty relaxed, even though I would have actually wanted a specialist thrown in there. But I think moving forward, probably you'll have a look at a couple of specialists thrown in, because I feel there's a lot of all-round strength. Whether that'll work against good sides, better sides, I'm not too sure on different varying conditions. But this series win is so much needed, was so much needed, because, you can play with a lot of freedom, and winning does matter. You saw the crowds today, 30,000 people here, just because they've started to have a bit of confidence in Pakistan's cricket.
Yeah, without doubt, and I think they've liked the style of play. And I think the challenge with trying to play with that freedom is you actually do have to have some batting depth, because if you don't, you can't. You lose a couple of early wickets like we did in the first game, or we've lost an early one in both other games, and you can start to then feel like you've got to create a partnership, whereas therefore you're applying pressure on other people. So, even someone like Kustal Shah, who was batting at 7 for us, didn't have a role with a bat, bowled a few overs. Just having his presence there, knowing that he could come out at a certain time, is important. But then you're right, from a bowling point of view, the three specialists we have got to be bankers. Once they're bankers, then, your all-rounders come into play.
Yeah.
Just in terms of, there's been so much talk around having that modern-day approach. What is the modern-day approach, according to you? Because it's open to interpretation for
Look, I think
we interpret it in different ways.
Look, I think we've seen both sides of it, haven't we? Prior to the series in New Zealand, Pakistan were probably a bit conservative, and then in New Zealand they were probably, far too high in terms of probably not understanding what aggressive means. Aggressive means, you just got to stretch yourself a little bit, and you got to play shots that you're good at in the conditions that you come across. So for me, that's it's combining intent with some smarts. And cricket smarts, and then picking people that can play that way, I think is important as well.
How important is fitness for you in terms of setting a standard for this side? Because it is an area where Pakistan has struggled, and comparatively to some of the other teams of the world, they are lagging behind.
Yeah, for me, it's about cricket fitness. And I think, if we want to play a high-intensity game, you would have seen today when we were in the field, the amount of running that happens off the ball. Now, you can only do that if you're fit. And there were times where, one or two were a little bit late in terms of getting into position, and they've got some work to do. But for me, fitness and fielding are sort of a non-negotiable, really. Not you don't have to, take your shirt off and look like, a sprinter, but you have to be able to run. You have to be able to put pressure on when you're batting. You have to be able to maximise the opportunities you get out there in terms of trying to save singles by running in to the circle. And that's in one-day cricket as well. You just got to obviously do it for a bit longer.
Some of the young talent that we've seen in this series, somebody like Hesson, we saw what he can do in the PSL. How exciting is he to work with? Because at least it seems like he's got great potential.
Well, he's got a repeatable game, in my view. He's got a really sound technique. He's got a long reach, so he can hit sixes without having to come down the crease. He's got fast feet, for a big guy, so he can get deep in the crease and hit sixes over mid-wicket. And I think he's found a niche for himself, in that middle order, regardless of the number. But, if he comes in after 10 overs and you've got a platform set, anything's possible. And every time he's come out, he's played beautifully.
So my question to you is that when will we be able to beat India in a World Cup game, Australia in Australia, South Africa in South Africa, New Zealand in New Zealand? How far are we from that goal? Year, 6 months, 1 year?
It's hard to put a sort of a number on it. We're very much improving. We're 3 games in. We know today we were pretty sloppy in some areas with the ball, where we know against better sides we'll be put under pressure. But I think we're quite an honest group as well. We won't gloss over those, but we know we're going to have to be better in all departments, and we also have to get better playing in different conditions.
Just in terms of going ahead in the future, what are some of your goals that you would like Pakistan to achieve, or something that you feel like this is an area that Pakistan can improve?
Depth of squad is important. We need to know that if we get injuries or things happen close to pinnacle events, we don't have to panic. We've just got straight like-for-like replacements, and that's a big part of the next 6 months, is having that. As I said, having 3 bankers with the ball, whether they be seamers, whether they be 2 and 1, and then making sure that our all-rounders can get introduced at the right time. So, and improve our fielding. I thought we were good catching in this series. Catching was really good. Ground fielding was okay, but I think things like speed to the ball and running off the ball are things we need to improve.
What about your communication with Salman Ali Agha, the captain? What is that equation like? He seems, again, comes across as a very sort of composed character.
And he's very passionate about Pakistan improving. I think selfless is a really good word for Salman Ali Agha. He's not interested in his own, numbers or stats. He's interested in trying to win games for Pakistan, and that's, as a coach, that's what you want in a captain. It's hard to do it by yourself. You can't change things by yourself, and the other leaders in the group are really important as well to help Salman, and we're trying to develop that group as well.
Just in terms of the contenders for that opening spot, Pakistan has had its share of changes, chopping and changing at the top, but you've got options now. You've got options in the form of Farhan, Fakhr, Saim Ayub. How do you go about that and ensure that there is consistency there?
Yeah, look, it is a balance between giving the same players enough opportunity and finding out if they're the right players. And, really fortunate, I guess, in this series to be able to give Sabzada a couple of games, for him to play an innings where he would have gained plenty of confidence, gives the group some confidence as well. And it's not about just getting a score, it's about getting a score that helped us win a game. And that's the same. Saim today, he had a couple of misses today. He didn't, first ball he hit for 6. He wasn't worried about, I need to get myself a score. What did the team require chasing that? So that's what we want from our openers and from our top 3. And obviously Harris, was nice that he kicked on today.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we've picked your brain enough for the night at least, or for this series. But obviously, lots of good luck for all the remaining games. And it's great to see that Pakistan has started off their campaign here on a winning note. 3-0 sweep is what was required, the need of the hour as well. We'll take a short break, and when we do come back, we'll be having a closer look at what lies ahead.